I'll never forget at the beginning of COVID lockdowns when I was on the phone with my friend and he was telling me about an experience that he had at Whole Foods. He was in line waiting to get in and he saw this huge guy. He was like 6'4", 250, just bulging muscles out of his t-shirt. And this guy finally gets in and goes up to his cart and puts on what appears to be a gas mask. And then the guy pulls on these gloves that go all the way up to his elbows. And the guy goes into his fanny pack and pulls out some little tiny wipes and he starts to wipe the shopping cart so meticulously it took him like almost a minute to finish wiping this cart. And I'll never forget what my friend Jeff said about it. He said, "I would have liked to see this guy storming the beaches at Normandy." Are lockdowns effective? And are they evidence for the feminization of America? My name is Ali Shuaga, and this is 10 Points to Ponder, where we like to talk about all the things that get you canceled. Politics, Jesus, race, and manhood. Are lockdowns evidence of the fact that America has become so effeminized that we will fall for anything if it's in the name of safety? Here's 10 points to ponder. Point 1, masculinity is about calculated risk. Plumbers, electricians, construction workers, they go to work and they put on protective gear because they don't know if there's going to be danger that day. And for the working class, most of the dangerous jobs are actually the ones that pay the most. I would know. I worked in prison for 13 years, and I know that the pay wasn't necessarily because of some great skill on my part. It was because I was working in a dangerous environment. COVID lockdowns, on the other hand, are about safety at all costs, when men know that where there is great risk, there is often great reward. Point 2, women, on the other hand, care most about safety and security. A man is supposed to leave his mother and father and cling to his wife. He's supposed to start his own thing. Often the biggest issues in marriage is because the man can't leave the mother or the mother can't leave the man. I'll never forget when I was a kid, when I would get in fights at the bus stop, and then later on one day my mom showed up at 3:15 to tell all these kids off. There was nothing more embarrassing or infantilizing. In America, we do not trade freedom for security. We don't stay on our parents' insurance until we're 26 years old because there's Obamacare and it's hard out there. You should have had a job. You should have had a car. You should have had a house. You should have been working on something by then. We are making men babies. Now, government, with COVID lockdowns, is doing the same thing. It's supporting this mommy attitude and keeping people from growing up. Point 3, you can call it toxic masculinity if you want to, but men seek value through individual achievements. You never saw John Wayne trying to, let's all form a little group and you know, you have your part and you have your part and we'll achieve together. No, he was out in the wilderness by himself. Every man should want to be his own man. Alaska has 38,000 more men than women, and you wonder why when it's cold out there and it's harsh out there. And for some people, their moms are telling them, don't go, Johnny. And for the man, he's gonna say, I don't care. You see cold, I see opportunity. Men seek value through individual achievements. COVID lockdowns are all about slashing and keeping you from individual achievement so that you can join the collective. Point 4. I already know I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, But a lot of women seek value through community and even shared misery. As long as we're all in the same boat, it doesn't matter if the boat is sinking. Marxism is a feminine political structure based on comparison. Oh, this person's more pretty than me. This person's got such a nice house. You're checking Facebook and you're like, oh my God, the Christmas photo, their family looks so perfect and mine have snot in their eyes. So Marxism is a feminine political structure, but that doesn't mean that it's not brutal. It's actually the most cruel because it keeps you from achieving and stepping up. Stalin had gulags because people didn't want to cooperate with his plan for utopia. Mao had the Great Leap Forward and made people starve so that he could take their grain and use it to build up China. One of the most feminine slogans in the lockdowns is, we're all in this together. Think of this. We're all in this terrible boat together. So lock down, peasants. Point 5. Men generally think big picture and long range. We ask those questions. What's this going to do to the economy? What's this going to do to our children? What's this going to do to our cities? And what sort of example is it setting when we're cowering in our houses trying to teach our sons about courage? Lockdowns are all about safety now, but they have no end game in sight. And furthermore, there has been absolutely no analysis as to the effects of the lockdown. Isn't it interesting to you that suicide statistics are 2 years in lag, and yet we know real time how many people died from COVID? We're gonna find out 2 years from now that maybe we ended up with more people dead from suicide and drug abuse and alcoholism and families broken than we would have had if we had just not locked down but been very specific and strategic. This is a panicked response. Emergency orders don't make any sense unless you also add in there a plan for demobilization. Point 6. Women are just thinking about now. I almost went nuts when I heard the school board statement on racial justice. Our school board went and said and echoed their commitment to black and brown kids, and yet it's the same school board that has those kids locked down. These kids are the ones that are going to suffer the most because of the lockdown. These kids are the ones that are going to fall behind. These are the kids that can't get a tutor. And yet, I step back because I also realize that this is all part of the plan to make the government mommy. And one thing we know about mommy still loves you if you can't read. Mom loves you if you can't spell. Mom loves you if you don't know what 2 + 2 is. Mommy loves you. And so I guess mommy's also gonna give you a nice job through affirmative action, even though you don't deserve it, even though you don't know stuff. But mommy's here to help. And all you have to do is just vote Democrat. Point 7. In a lot of this talk about what's masculine and feminine, for some of the masculine traits, I'm gonna have to just talk about what men used to be. Because men used to prioritize process and freedom over safety. We used to love watching westerns to see John Wayne and Clint Eastwood, and they're going all over the place. I mean, can you imagine John Wayne and Clint Eastwood being locked down? They'd be out there with their shotgun or their pistol and saying, by what authority do you incarcerate me and put me under house arrest? That ain't happening in America. And yet, there used to be a time when men loved freedom and wouldn't ever allow something like this to happen. So the first question that we now need to ask is, how do we get out of here? And one great shining example is that finally in Ohio, they're standing up. Finally, the legislature got together, the Republicans got together and are against their Republican governor because he got too drunk on power, and they're finally trying to impeach him. And unless we start seeing governors impeached all over the country, and all these mayors and all these petty tyrants with their petty little kingdoms that they just feel so good that they can do things, but for the peasants they need to lock down, we're not gonna get anywhere until men step up and start prizing freedom over safety. I had no idea that this topic would be so triggering for me. I think the reason that it is because it strikes at the core of who we are as people. Are we here just to merely exist, or are we here to actually live? And the people that prize safety over freedom don't understand this little secret that we all actually know at the core. We have never been safe. Every breath that you take is because of the good grace of God in your life, because He still has a purpose. He still has works that He wants you to complete. When you prize safety over freedom, then you miss out on His plan for your life. And so this has been the first part of 10 Points to Ponder, Effeminate Lockdowns, and I've broken it up into 2 parts. And the second part is going to talk about how the government is treating us like an abusive mom. What are your thoughts? Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. This has been 10 Points to Ponder.